everybody, this is Sarah.
And this is Megan.
You are listening to It's Always the Husband podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you for listening and joining us.
And welcome to we're trying YouTube.
Yeah. We're going to try to videotape this shit show and put it up on YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. We're giving it a whirl.
I just waved at the camera and saw my arm fat just keep going.
Be careful
even though
what
the
you wish
waving
for.
had stopped.
You might not want to visualize.
I'm so scared.
So we
about
apologize
this.
1,000 times in advance.
Okay.
For our appearance, it's unfortunate.
Yes.
Anyway, we do have some. I just want to say thank you first to Fallon Burger for making us the cutest little earrings. We got them and opened them together, so
They're adorable.
They're adorable. They're little classic rock. I have the doors, and they're like little guitar picks.
And I hate the doors. And
I love the doors.
I know. So thank God Fallon didn't give me that one. But who do I love? Freddie Mercury. That's right, bitches. So I got Queen, and I am so excited.
Yes.
Best singer ever, hands down. Fight me. Okay.
George Michael is really pretty good. But because he had 14 rows of teeth, so big, he has a kind of an extra special sound.
You? How dare you?
What? I mean, it's good. Mm-hmm. But let's say hi to some Momoa patrons.
Okay.
You can join Patreon and support us, and we are flabbergasted to the point of like shitting ourselves that people do this. And
we can't believe it.
We'll be getting a new Patreon up very shortly. You can join. We should get a few really good ones this summer. Front load. You can listen to some real shit shows. And we don't always do It's the Husband. We do multiple other just different crime cases.
Or one time we did Santa Jaws.
We did do the movie Santa Jaws, which is a movie everyone needs to see around Christmas time. Because it celebrates the birth of our Lord.
We did Beauty and the Beast, too.
We did, yes, the first episode of TV show, 1987, Beauty and the Beast. And many other crimes. One crime where we didn't even say the crime at all.
One time we did that.
We just ended it not even saying the crime. Because I was ham-boned.
And that's when I found her in the bathtub.
Oh, yeah, that was that one. Anyway, we have Whitney, who moved up from a 15 to a 20.
Oh, thanks,
so
Whitney.
Bravo to a Momoa. So we'll give you a shout out along with Brandy, Shady.
I can't wait to find out how to say it, Brandy.
Brandy S. And we had the other Brandy, and I don't think it's the same Brandy.
You have two Brandys?
That would be unbelievable.
Wow.
Well, ladies, you're going to get a Momoa shout out right now. Wonderful. Wonderful.
So many people put videos of Momoa on our Facebook group.
I know. I always get it. Some I've seen and some I haven't, and they're always delightful.
Yeah. He's
just charming. If I ever saw him in person, I think I would like instantly diarrhea and have that would be my one chance.
I
just shit myself.
Okay.
God. Okay. We also do a segment called Glitter in the Shitter, where we try to be grateful for just one thing in our whole week. And sometimes it's so hard. Sometimes it's hard. And we could just say
it's
home
ridiculous.
And water and food, because of course. But what do you have? Something?
I do. Remember this week when we went to the wine tasting?
I do remember that. That was fun.
I'm not sure if I remember going home from the wine tasting.
No, because I left you there.
Yeah. She hit it and kicked it.
I kicked it and hit it. We had others who said they were going to take you and then said you can just go. We're taking her to. And then you met Nut Bar, I heard.
Yeah, Nut Bar came and met us there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the next restaurant.
Right.
But at the wine tasting,
it was very hot.
It was so hot that I was dying. I had like a river of sweat going down my back, pooling into my soaked pants.
Yeah, me too. So, it was really hot, and I've maybe said this before, but I hate shorts because right in between my legs. They just ride up and go straight up into my crotch. No matter what kind of shorts they are. I've always hated shorts, so I always wear skirts or pants, even in the summer. But I got these overalls from Amazon, and they're like
cute.
light cotton, and I just wore a tank top underneath them. And of course, at the wine tasting, I had like 19 glasses, and just the whole time I walked around, I had some dribble down the front of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually wasn't. I mean, I was just as hot as everyone else there because it was 100 fucking degrees.
No,
but
no wind.
they're really loose and airy, and they're just light cotton. And
it was
so
and
they were
adorable.
Yeah, I thought they were cute.
Yeah,
so they were
adorable.
made. If you want to look them up, they're called Fiona Jolin Women's Cotton Bibs, and I got them in black, but I think they have them in brown and olive and khaki or something else, and then some kind of crazy.
They were super adorable.
Yeah. So I loved those, and they were relatively cheap, and I'm getting a lot of wear out of them. So that's mine. What's yours?
I did an app because my email has gotten out of control.
Oh,
Because
God,
all I
mine
do
too.
is put my address in for you can't look at any website without a pop-up coming, get 15% off, and then you put your email in, and then you have to put your number in, and I hate that even more because I hate having it seem like I have text when I don't. But that's more of a neurotic thing I have. And you could open each email, go scroll down and go unenroll or unsubscribe, and then it never does anyway, which is just fucked. So I got an app called Unroll Me. It's unroll.me, and I did it on my desktop, but I know you can do it on like your phone and stuff. And it seriously just goes through. It goes through all your email, pulls up all your fucked subscriptions, and you just go through, and you can save it like that fucked Maria Kondo or whatever.
Marie Kondo, yeah.
And you can save it, delete it, or it's like store it in one, and then like one time a day you get all your I want to keep them come all together, and then you can kind of scroll through those quick.
And then you think, does this bring me joy?
Right, and if it doesn't,
None
just
of
delete.
them do.
No.
Yeah.
And it takes 2 seconds. You just go boom. You just push a button all the way down. Boom, 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 boom. Takes care of it for you.
I keep getting those messages from fucking Google that says like you're out of storage, and
I think that's all
say,
spam.
fuck you, Google.
Well, yeah, I'm out of storage for everything.
I'm not gonna buy storage from Google.
Yeah, and then my
Just
computer hard
principle.
drive says it's all full, but it says other user, and I'm like,
Yeah, right.
Who's the other user? And I'd never understood how to see it, or clear it, or anything. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's called Unroll.me.
Okay.
And it made it so easy just to get rid of
I love
tons. Yeah. And just clear your email, and then you can just sign up for a whole bunch of other fucks.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just keep it going.
And then do it again.
Yep.
Cool. And we have social media. We have where we put pictures of the episodes that we watch. We put our glitter in the shitter up. If I remember, I did it today. My God, so late from last.
People really thought that the last show did
Burb dirty.
Burb.
In the opposite way.
In the
The
opposite
actress
way.
Burb did dirty because real Burb was real homely.
Yes, it was so dumb, but that was kind of funny when you saw the actress and then the actual Burb. Burb.
It was a horror.
Yeah.
That's where your eyes pack their suitcases and move on out.
They did. If you
They
are
catch
interested,
the train. They jump on the old boxcar with their bindle. Look, another pair of eyes is jumping on. They must have seen something real fun.
If you like our ridiculous sense of humor, like the stories that we tell, and also like very foul memes and videos, please join our It's Always the Husband podcast group. Yeah. So find us and ask to join, and we will immediately allow you in.
Or it takes a while
because we forgot to check Facebook. But so you can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, and also join our group. So we like to every week pick some of our favorite Facebook memes or videos that people have sent in. So Brooke Venning, this literally just came under the wire.
It did.
She actually got an advertisement for something called Poop Lunch False Eyelashes.
Hey Gary, what should we name our company? How about Poop Lunch? Because everybody likes poop for lunch.
Gary, that's perfect.
And it screams makeup.
Not only that,
and beauty accessories.
now the Poop Lunch store has.
Oh, I can't. What kind of a dumb asshole names their company Poop Lunch?
Okay, well just listen.
Come on.
All right,
This is
because
not a thing.
the Poop Lunch store, it's all one word. It's like a compound. Poop Lunch. It has.
What's the last name?
It has a 4.3 average star rating.
People like Poop
That's
Lunch.
good.
That is good.
But the thing is, what these Poop Lunch false eyelashes are, they're called fluffy dramatic faux mink lashes, long thick volume, messy crossed fake eyelashes.
If you want to enter a
Cross
party,
eyes? Cross eyelashes?
But if you want to enter a party and everyone to know that you are an absolutely phenomenal jackass and a profound moron, you would wear these.
Because then Angel Rainey posted below it, someone stole his lashes, and it's a meme of Snuffleupagus.
Yes!
Because that's what it looks like.
They're like, just like you took the dust bunnies off your broom and stuck it to a tape.
Yeah,
Put it on
and then
your
you put it on your
eyes.
eyes, and they're crossed.
And it's from a
fake
poop. What
eye.
brand
Poop
are your
Lunch.
shitty eyelashes? Poop Lunch.
I got them at the Poop Lunch store
No.
on Amazon.
No. 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 Come on now. We just can't, as a race, continue. Our human beings. The humans just have gone too far.
So that was one, and you loved what one?
Where those boobs are on the slide.
The boobs on the slide. That was Angie Bounds, and it was a mom with her daughter, and someone was recording, and the daughter was like, "You go down, Mom." So she went down, and her tank top got caught on the top of the slide.
Oh.
So as she went down, it was ripping it off of her, and she was just hanging there, and she had to put her arms up and slide out of her shirt, and she got to the bottom, and their little girl goes, "Her naked."
I did similar in Las Vegas.
No.
I was there for my sister's wedding, and we stayed at Mandalay Bay, which I think has Mandalay Bay, which they have a great pool, I think, and they have like a lazy river, and they have a wave pool. And it was October, so we were almost the only ones at the pool because it was like 70 degrees, and no other Las Vegas person was gonna ever think of being outside in 70 degrees. It's freezing. And so we were, of course, swimming. The lifeguards literally were in snow parkas and snow pants, practically, and we're just dorks from Minnesota in our swimsuits. And so I went into the wave pool, and they're very violent waves. And for some reason, the bottom of the wave pool is like popcorn ceiling, except exceptionally sharp. And I remember just thinking, this is weird. It's so sharp. And like my feet hurt, whatever. And I was the only one in the whole pool.
Well, yeah.
And then Rachel was just really tiny, and my mom and sister were sitting with her. And I remember turning around for a second to look at her, and the wave hit me and pushed me down so hard, and then I got snagged on the popcorn ceiling bottom, and it yanked my bottoms way off to my feet. So I realized I just have a top on and no bottoms, and I'm alone in a wave pool, and I thought if I stand up, I'm just full naked. So I had to struggle underwater to try to find my bottoms and yank them back on. And I remember Rachel still to this day, like, remember when you were naked in that wave pool? Yes.
Yes,
and then my whole back got scraped, like scraped and bloody. Like it hurt so, and I thought, this is just
who does that?
Oh God, that was so awful. Anyway, it's still a good pool. If you go there. It's still great. Yeah. So you have though some of our new segment, because our story today takes place in 2009, and I don't know if we've done many 2009s, but I forgot to even look it up because I thought we'll do some fucked facts. And you came up with some fucked facts, because our show today is again a recommendation from Till Death Do Us Part.
Oh
podcast,
yeah.
M&D, and she said, "Hey, fat ass, here's a great show that you need to watch again." But it was Deadly Cruises, and they changed their name to Cruise Ship Killers. Yeah. And it is a shit show.
Cruise Ship Killers. So I decided that in Fact Facts, we are going to talk a little bit about our favorite cruise ship, which is...
Yeah, there's only one. The Love Boat.
That's right.
We're the horniest assholes.
Yes. Every horny asshole boards the Love Boat. And for sure gets laid by Charo. Okay.
Yeah. Charo just was porking left
and
right.
Left and right.
How did she make her shows on time?
I don't know.
Tearing her ass up.
Yeah. So here are some fucked facts about the Love Boat. So it started in 1977.
Okay.
So you were 2 and I was 1.
I was 3. God damn it, 3.
Oh.
I'm 74.
Oh, Jesus, you old bitch. So it's 1977 to 1986. So it went for 9 years, a really long time. It actually was filmed on board of a cruise ship. The Pacific Princess and the Island Princess were the two ships that they used. Mostly the Pacific Princess. And it was an actual ship, and it was sold for scrap not very long ago.
Oh.
When it turned 42 years old. Just like throw the fucking Love Boat away.
Yeah. It seemed like it was nice. What, they just said it's too old?
I don't know. They didn't want to redecorate it anymore.
People would go on it if it was from the Love Boat. Old bitches would go on it all the time.
At 42, that's just like a sign of the times, right? When you're 42 and a woman, you just get
sold for scrap.
Sold for scrap. So it actually, the TV show is based on a book, a real book.
Really? I never knew that.
Yes.
Why would I? But I guess I didn't.
Published in the early 70s, and Geraldine Saunders is the name of the author.
Was she on a horny cruise?
She was on many horny cruises.
I guess.
She was a cruise director for many years.
She's seen porking in every
she's fucking
spot.
Seen it all. Yeah. And so she wrote this book about, tales from her cruise ship, and then they decided, hey, let's make a show about it. So, the extras, like the people who are always boarding the ship in the opening scene and closing scene, they are actual, just regular people who paid thousands of dollars to be on board when it was filming.
Oh.
And so sometimes, like, it said between $3,000 and $7,000 just to be an extra on.
Oh my God!
Yes.
So they're making money as they're doing the show.
Yes, on the show. Sometimes it did sail places, like it would sail to Mexico or whatever, and in those particular episodes, obviously, they are like on a cruise, but they're just they're filming on the side on the cruise. So you all know you know that Gavin MacLeod is Captain Stubing, and then we have Bernie Koppel. Yes, he's Doc. Yeah, he's the doctor. Ted Lang.
Is it Lange or Lang?
I don't know. It's Isaac, the bartender. Yeah. Fred Grandy was Gopher.
Did he end up being some sort of a senator or something?
Yes. The yeoman purser. That's what it would say. Fred Grandy as Gopher, the Yeoman Purser.
Oh.
So I looked up what that was.
Yeah.
And it's just
Bellboy?
It's like a person who keeps track of all of the accounts forever. It's literally like a purse of money.
Oh.
He keeps track of all the accounts.
And they had that Dick Gopher doing that?
Yeah, that's what Gopher is. And he was
he
a
messed
moron.
Up.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then you had Julie.
Yeah.
Who was Lauren Tuis. She was the cruise director. And then, what is that? Did I say everyone?
I think
so. Yeah. And then later on, Vicky, Captain Stubing's niece, came on and was like an understudy to Julie, but I'll tell you why that happened. So, there was one episode where where the boat went to Mexico and there was going to be a big designer fashion show.
Oh my.
So they called on these famous designers to be on. So they asked Gloria Vanderbilt and Ralph Lauren and Giorgio Armani, Calvin Klein, Bob Mackie, Halston.
Oh,
and so some of them said, yes, I'm going to do it. And some of them, and this one really pissed everyone off, was Ralph Lauren refused to go on it. Because he said, people will think that my clothes are like supposed to be like a comedy, like lower class.
Get a sense of humor, you
And the show was so pissed because everyone always wore Ralph Lauren polo on the boat. Like that's what they dressed everybody in. Yep. So fuck you, Ralph Lauren. And then Giorgio Armani couldn't come. And then Calvin Klein said he would not go because Halston was there. So they must have hated each other.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So Halston, Gloria Vanderbilt, Bob Mackie, they all were on the show, but then those other three wouldn't go.
Well, the dicks.
Yeah. Guests, if you have ever watched it, you know that the show relies on guest stars, right? Because you just have like these 5 people that are your mainstays, and then the guest stars are really what make the show. There were there were like over 1,000 guest stars throughout the year.
Of like celebrities?
Like thousands, yes,
oh
like 4 digits. Ooh. And when you look it up on Wikipedia, you can literally see like the most famous ones, and there's over 500.
Oh my god!
Really famous.
Everybody
people.
had to be on this in the 70s.
Yes. They made between $1,000 and $25,000 per episode.
Jeez.
Yeah. Which is huge in the 70s, right?
Doing, like really like 4 scenes maybe total, because there's all sorts of guest stars that have to get their story in like a 40-minute thing.
Yes. So Bernie Koppel, who played Dr. Adam Bricker, he was like the lover boy of like the ship.
Yeah.
He wore hot glasses the whole
looked like
time.
A nerd.
And people were supposed to like it, I guess, because he's a doctor. I don't know. But then I read somewhere that they actually wanted Dick Van Patten to play Doc. But he was supposed to be a lover boy? I know!
Both of them are not why did they get a handsome man?
I don't know. They could have.
What's going on? You get a nerd that maybe doesn't even know what a boner is?
Just think of all of the people. So Lauren Tuis, who was Julie the Purser, went on some show and admitted that she was addicted to cocaine.
Oh,
and she got
cokehead.
Fired.
Oh my god! And everybody else was a cokehead for sure.
Yes, after season 7. So that's when
a B team.
Yeah, the next kind of cruise director came in.
And this was Aaron Spelling?
Yes. So I'm just going to give you a rundown of some of the famous people that were guest stars. Okay, ready. Ernest Borgnine.
Oh, well.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, she would have been a baby.
Kathy Bates.
Oh, Kathy.
Betty White.
Of course.
And some other Golden Girls too. Rue McClanahan was on.
They all had it.
Charo, of course.
She was on 900 episodes.
Yes, she was on many times. Vivian Lee.
No.
Yes, was on there. The whole, like, Scott Baio Mateo and Willie Ames, remember, from Charles in Charge?
And the movie Zapped.
And Zapped, yes. He was on there. Debbie Allen must have done some dance scenes.
Yep.
Kirstie Alley was actually on there. Of course, Lonnie Anderson, who...
Yes, I feel like she was on
is Minnesota's own. Yeah, she was on quite a few times. The cast from... Or a lot of the cast members from Little House on the Prairie.
Yes, I saw that Melissa Gilbert.
Yes,
Melissa
Gilbert was. Melissa Sue Anderson.
Yeah.
Albert, the guy who played Manly.
Yes.
Dean Butler was on there. John Aston, Frankie Avalon. There was a ton of like Fabian and Frank, all these 50s singers. And then anybody really who had a show in the 70s or 80s. Yeah,
CBS
so like Catherine Bach, who was Daisy, was on there.
Charlie's Angels and such.
All of the different Strokes, so like Todd Bridges
those
and Conrad Bain, and then the girl who died, Dina Plato. Yeah. Everybody from Three's Company, so Suzanne Summers, John Ritter, Joyce DeWitt.
And someone put like the, I forgot who it was. I'm so sorry. And I watched the whole fucking thing. Like
the first episode.
Well, it was probably like
the pilot.
It wasn't even the pilot for Three's Company, but it must have been like a first practice episode because they rewrote the whole thing, like changed names. They changed the script a ton, although it was the same general idea. They changed both girls.
Yeah.
So it must have been like a year before, and then they make changes but it was like probably the first practice run of Three's Company, but it had John Ritter and it had the Ropers.
Yeah, it had the Ropers.
Stuck to the script. Because Rachel and I literally just watched the first one again. She came over and we just started Three's Company season 1 and like just had it run. Because I had just seen it. But my God, it was like, with two different girls or whatever, it was kind of like, I don't like it because it's not the same. And Jack Tripper wasn't Jack Tripper, he was David something. And so that was a horrible.
Thank God.
But my God, I love him so much.
Yeah, me too. So
amazing.
They were all on there. All the people.
I'm sure Angela Lansbury was on there a few times. Well, he was Booze and Buddies.
Tom Hanks was on there. Janet Jackson
she was also
in Good Times. The Osmonds were Debbie Reynolds, Leslie Nielsen, Ann Mira and Jerry Stiller, who are married.
Star Wars, like Mark Hamill.
I didn't see David Hasselhoff. I saw the people from what the fuck is that show called? Dynasty. So like,
of course. And all those Knots Landing.
John Forsythe and Linda Evans and Heather Locklear, LeVar Burton was on there. Sonny Bono.
Was Cher?
I didn't see Cher, but the last one that I saved for you.
John Travolta?
Oh wait, I forgot this one too. Like 3 of your favorite people of all time.
Charles Nelson Reilly.
And who's your favorite female comedian who died?
Oh, Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers. And then the funniest Canadian we know.
Martin Short.
And Martin Short was on there. Yes.
Oh, I gotta watch all those episodes.
Yes. So that's our fuck facts.
Nice.
And
where can we stream that, I wonder?
I don't know. I got a lot of those facts from MeTV.com, and it says you can watch it on MeTV. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
And then 80s TV and Wikipedia, just so I can tell you that that's where I got my facts, and I'm not plagiarizing.
Yeah, I forgot to say too.
Those things didn't just fall into my head. I looked them up. But I love the Love Boat, and Dionne Warwick actually sang the Love Boat theme song for only the last season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it was a man before, right?
The Love Boat soon will be
oh my.
All right, so now we're off the Love Boat, which was always humorous and full of
And you
love
would leave
stories.
and you would be in love, or you would have some sort of trauma in your life would have been resolved.
Oh, you know who else was on it? Your boyfriend's wife. Juliet Mills and Haley Mills. Yeah,
sisters.
they both were on there.
Mm-hmm. And their dad was the dad
Mm-hmm.
of Swiss Family Robinson.
He was on there too.
Mm-hmm. All right. We, though, watched a shit cruise. Mm-hmm. A shitty.
You can watch The Love Boat on Paramount Plus.
Ah.
We got it.
Okay. We got to start that again.
Yep.
And just to see all of the porking and the cocaine. Jeez. Talk about filth.
Julie let everybody bring their cocaine on board.
No wonder.
Yep.
Jeez, boners left and right, hitting you right in the face
Left
when you're trying to go get your shrimp.
Right. Yes!
Just boner and boner and boner.
Just get a margarita from Isaac and
God, boner.
you can't.
So we're gonna meet a married couple named Robert, called Bob, and Shirley McGill. Bob and Shirley McGill were very happily married when they boarded. They let us know that when they were to board the ship, happily married.
Correct.
They were on a 5-day cruise, leaving from San Diego, going to Cabo, and this was in July of 2009, where it's hotter than Satan's ballsack. So that seems like a hot cruise.
Yeah.
But they were ready to have fun. They were ready to party up. They were celebrating, that we find out, they were celebrating, both of them, within like a week, turning 55. And in fact, Bab was going to turn 55 during the cruise, and Shirley had just turned 55. These two were actually high school sweethearts. So they were in love in high school. They parted ways. They each married. They each had children. And their 30th high school reunion came around, and both of these guys went single, probably like, fuck. Their friends brought them there. They're like, I don't need to see any of these goddamn dicks. And then they sit at a table, and they probably were hammered before they went. And they sat at the table, and then maybe they reconnected, trying to get some gross charcuterie that's kind of warm. And they started talking and realized, and then I looked like, I'm going to have my 30th reunion this summer.
I was going to say mine's...
That's old as fuck.
Mine's next summer.
That is foot in the grave.
And when I looked at them, I was like, oh.
Well, these two, which I'll just describe
old
in a
geezers
minute.
in love, and I'm like, fuck, that's...
Yeah, they met again, reconnected, and married 2 years later in 2003. So now they were all the way to 2009. So they'd been married like 5-6 years. Now they show these as the reenactment actors. And the Shirley, and they're 55. The Shirley looks normal. Like for a 55-year-old, she looks normal. She looks like maybe she parties in a garage quite a bit.
Yeah.
But she looks normal, you know? Then we see Bob. And Bob, not only does he look like if you were to ride Thunder Canyon at Disney World and you saw some sort of a broken down, fucked, old prospector character in his underwear, like long underwear, with like a pot on his head, like Johnny Appleseed, and going, that's Robert. He looked like a fucked moonshiner that maybe you find when you get lost in a cabin in the Appalachians. And you find some old man grumbling, drunk. He looked unkempt. He had a very long, shaggy pube, gray beard. And then he had very unkempt, gray, long hair. Like where he had been assaulted. It looks like he has been assaulted, or he has been on a roller coaster, and he has just gotten off. And then he always has a black cowboy hat. And then he's wearing just clothes.
It is not a fucking rip.
Oh no!
It's like the cheap one made out of straw.
No, this is moonshiner old prospector hat. He looks like he is been frozen in some frozen old prospector that you melted out like that caveman with Pauly Shore movie.
Encino Man.
Yeah, Encino Man.
Oh.
Except he's fucked Encino moonshiner. prospector. He looks fucked. That's all there is to it, fucked.
He does, yeah.
And not handsome, but, sometimes love is blind, and I don't know. But he looks like he's 85 and not 55.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. 85.
I did look up the actual Bab. And he is fucked, but more kempt.
Yes.
I would say he looks more put together, and he looks like he could be. He has gray hair, but he looks like he could be 55.
And Shirley, I thought, was very attractive.
Lovely.
Yes.
Way lovelier.
Her actress was,
yeah.
that was a dig.
Yeah.
On the real Shirley.
Right. She was quite lovely. But I mean, no way they look the same age as the 55-year-old.
No.
They look older. But they seem to be very, very, very much in love. So friends that back home that were spoken to after the events of this cruise said they were a fantastic couple, in love, got along great. Robert, in fact, was quite calm and described as pleasant. I've never been described.
They definitely looked past his outsides.
Oh, for sure. They looked past the outside.
Saw what was inside, and they said, those two are fun and in love.
He would play guitar in his spare time, and she would dance, and they made their own fun. And they seemed like they were really good friends.
Yeah.
In the garages, they were pounding beers.
Yeah. Hand on hands.
Yes. Shirley, in fact, had a love of animals, and she was also a proud grandmother. At 55, I don't know how many grandkids she had, but she seemed like she was just a happy, fun grandma too. And all was really well. Shirley, in fact, was also not only celebrating her birthday of turning 55, she had just retired from working for like 11 years maybe at the DMV.
Yeah.
Geez, what a stressful job that is, because people seem to be yelling at you all day.
Yeah, man.
And then I read that before that, she also was a teacher.
Oh.
And Robert planned to retire. He, in fact, was also a teacher of 30 years in an alternate high school, so kind of at-risk students.
So then you gotta say, like, I love Bob.
Right, Bob he was, in fact, tutoring pregnant teens.
Like,
he had
what
to be incredibly patient
and that's
to make
not
it 30
easy.
years. No, that's not easy at all. And to be able to make it through that job where you're called a dick all day long.
And no one wants to come to school.
Yeah, you have to be so patient, and you have seen it all, and you've heard it all. So that makes it even more kind of surprising this happened, that this was his career. That so that he is planning on retiring soon. You know, he's put in his time. A 30-year career for a teacher, like that's, you can't go beyond that. You want to just jump in front of a train.
Yeah.
So this is a celebration. They're partying it up. They're celebrating their birthdays, and they're just gonna go balls to the wall. After 3 days on the cruise, and this is a short cruise, I think it's 5 days. They're making a great impression. People know them because they're so friendly. They're making all these friends. We get to July 14th, and it's Bob's actual birthday. And they are seen leaving the ship with another couple that they made friends with at the port city of Cabo San Lucas, which they describe in the show as a party town, and they show all sorts of 20-somethings like debauchery, boozing it, and being in the pool and boozing it. No kind of poking, but just lots of boozing it. And hammered.
For one, I have been to Cabo, and I mean, I was at like a timeshare resort, but it was lovely. It's one of my favorite Mexican places.
There were no like naked booze hounds? Oh, well.
I mean, maybe I didn't go to the right part because I was with my family.
Yeah,
but,
you might not have. But they say it's a party place.
But lovely.
It seemed very lovely.
Yes.
McGill's, again, making all these friends. And there's this reenactment of the McGills with this other couple. And Robert is dancing away and acting the fool. He's pounding it. They're drinking. They're doing shots. Bab and Shirley are getting ham-boned. They are getting hammed on hams and hardcore straight tequila.
Yes.
In fact, they show Bob, again, dancing around, acting the fool, and he, in fact, takes the scorpion from a bottle of mezcal and eats it. I don't think that should be done. I don't think for any reasons you should eat that, but he was shit-faced.
He was.
And he eats it. They show in the reenactment him leaning back, and he's holding it over his mouth and just chomps it, and everyone else is like, I would say, oh no.
Could you tell me,
oh no,
why do you think the couple who were with Bob and Shirley, why do you think they made that woman wear a wig?
Was that a wig? I think that
What?
was.
What was the purpose of that?
I don't know. But was the woman, because we never even heard from the other woman.
No.
We would have had no idea what she looks like.
No. And I've wondered that several times on these reenactments. Like, one time we were watching one and it was just like a scene in the church and everyone was like, and they had like some 15-year-old girl who literally was on screen for 1 second but had a ridiculous wig on. Why are they putting a wig on this woman?
I feel like sometimes
and it was in her forehead, like she
the
had
customer just needs something to do. Oh, it was a low one where they didn't.
It was
askew.
wrong. Yes,
Yeah.
it didn't. I don't know.
And she had many close-ups. She had
She
close-ups.
Yeah, and she kind of became a player in the game a little bit, but ugh.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even.
Now
Because it was the guy, her husband was a weirdo.
Yeah.
So I was looking at him.
And this scene, I thought a lot of the scenes in this went on for about 15 minutes too long.
Yes.
Like this could have been a 20-minute show. We're in, we're out.
Oh yeah, they kept rehashing
but it was a
everything.
44-minute
This
show.
could have been a 22.
How many times can I see him dangle the scorpion?
Yes,
I don't know.
1,000.
It was maddening. Okay.
If they would where it would cut to commercial, but we're watching without commercials, and then they have to rehash
Go
the
back
whole
5
story
minutes.
Again.
Yeah.
We know we're watching it.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so here we are. Bob and Shirley are just fucked up. They are shit-faced. Bob way more than Shirley. Like Bob ate the scorpion. He's drinking like straight tequila, right, squirting it into his mouth. He is ham-boned. They walk back on the ship, where I guess you'd have to remember to get on time, or they just fucking leave without you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was worried that they weren't gonna make it, but.
And you see Shirley like trying to carry Bob, because Bob too looks like he's 110 pounds. And I feel like the real Bob looked a little bit muscular and a little bit. This Bob looked like, again, the 99-year-old prospector in the long underwear with the drop seat in the back.
Doing some meth every now and again. Yeah, very thin.
Bob could barely walk. He's zigzagging. He's like bumping into shit. And then you see kind of the side eye from like Julie, the cruise director's like looking at him. And Shirley waves her hand at her like, I got this, I got it.
Well, that is another thing about vacationing, like especially in Mexico. Like they will get you shit can drunk and they do not want any trouble ever. So like when you get totally out of control, they're just like put you in your room and it's fine and everyone's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've seen people almost drown in Mexican in the pools in Mexico, and they just like the workers come up and they have a wheelchair for you and they like jump in. Yes, and they just like wheel you. And if you have to,
I would die.
yeah, if you have to stop and throw up, they just stop the
die.
wheelchair and you puke, and then your whole family's behind you.
I would die.
You probably came with your kids and your wife, and you just got shit
wheelchair covered in your own puke because you just hit it hard.
Yes.
Now, what Bab is wearing is the black cowboy hat, and then he's wearing a black shirt with a very large cobra on the front and a serpent cobra on the back. And he looks like a dick.
Yeah.
Bob is so ham-boned that they say even all sorts of strangers notice as they're struggling to get to their goddamn room.
I don't know where the wheelchair was.
No, there was no wheelchair.
Yeah, these people
It was Shirley
dicks.
just carrying Bab, and he kept smashing into the corner and then smashing into the wall, and she's like, oh! And she's trying to hold him up, and they finally get into their fucking cabin, and it's 6 p.m. He got so ham-boned before 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And the narrator says that is the last time that Shirley McGill was ever seen alive.
Shirley.
So something fucked up happens. A few hours later, just a couple hours later, Bab we see coming out of his cabin. Bob is still ham-boned, hammered, zigzagging, falling, but he's by himself. Now he is changed into like a shitty suit coat and some shitty jeans and sneakers, but he still has the black cowboy hat, and he puts privacy please, the little thing on the doorknob, and closes the door. Again, he is alone. We see him fall, stumble, smash into the wall. He gets to the stairs. He's going downstairs onto like the poop deck or whatever, and he's got a beer in his hand. And he meets up with the same friends that they were eating the scorpion with in Cabo. And he sits down at their table, and they are describing it. They had slurred speech. He was incoherent. He was repeating stories, and he was very wobbly. And the friends described him as still fucking hammered.
Yeah.
But then they look at him as he's going, here's your man, and it's and they notice that his hands are covered in fucking blood. He has bloody fucking hands. And these dicks, how long did it take you to notice his fucking hands are all bloody when he's just drinking and boozing it hard? But I guess it's probably dark on the deck. I don't know. And they're probably hammered. But
yeah, they would have been hammered too because they were like all doing
yes.
shots and drinking all day.
And they're like dick breath.
Like just think if that were me, I would have been in the room like passed out napping for hours, done. Right? Like
I would have been in my room asleep.
No. Yes.
I can't handle it.
No.
There's no way I could rally from being that fucking hammered.
No.
So the friends with the bad wig say, "Gee, Bab, where's Shirley?" And Bob goes, "She's dead. I murdered her. I murdered my wife. That woman you found so amusing." And so these guys are like, what? And
like
what?
They thought he was joking.
And then they thought it's so fucked up that they thought, oh, he's just drunk and he's kidding. But they're like, his hands are covered in blood.
Right.
So they're like freaked out. I'd be like, why are your hands bloody? Did you kill her really? What's going on? What are you doing? And so then Bob just goes, and he gets up and he walks away, and then we see the couple look at each other and go like, and then they call over ship security, who's just a guy who sits there and stares at
him. It's just a guy. And they showed this scene they showed 13 times
800
too.
times. And the guy just stood there staring at him. And so they're like, well, we had some dickweed here who was hammered, and he just said he had killed his wife and his hands were all fucking bloody.
And this whole scene, like, was, you could tell, like, they put a railing so it looked like they were on a ship.
You know they're in just a room.
And then it was just a room with, like, a white curtain that they, like, put a blue light on or something, so and then made it kind of foggy. Yeah. And this scene was literally shot 13 times.
800 times.
Yeah.
800 times.
And they just showed them saying nothing
I don't know. Yeah.
I think he's dead.
Yeah.
The guy going, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then they even say the ship security is just like some fucking dude.
That's not even
a cop.
Police. No. He doesn't know what to do.
No, he's like,
and why don't they have cops? Because everybody dies on a cruise now.
They should have cops.
And the security go like, well, what's his name and room number? And they're like, all we know is his name's Bab. And his wife's name's Shirley. We don't know his fucking last name. We don't know his room number. And they're like, what? And so the security starts wandering around looking for a drunk, ham-boned asshole prospector with bloody hands.
Yeah.
That's everybody on the cruise. I mean, they gotta look everywhere. And then finally they see this drunk stumbling around, and the security approaches him. And all he does is turn around and like hold out his hands to be handcuffed.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Take me to the brig." And then the security guy just again stands there like mute.
Yeah.
And stares at him.
Yeah.
And then again they show that for 9 years. So finally they take Robert into some room, and Robert must have told them his room number. And so they're like, I guess we gotta go look in the room to see where his wife is, or what. They're like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, Robert's totally hammered, like so inebriated and mumbling and weird. They're like, who knows? Maybe his wife's just out cold and he's confused or something, and he's just a weird asshole. So they enter the room and walk inside the cabin, which has to be tiny, tiny, tiny.
Yes.
But in the tiny bathroom, Shirley is laying kind of propped up on the side in a heap. The ship security notices right away, like, she's dead.
Yeah.
And they try to, like, they explain that the ship security, again, not being any kind of a trained police officer or crime scene investigator at all, just tried to notice the condition of the room and the body, which I guess is all you can do at that point.
Because as people who know true crime, we were like, don't touch anything, you fucking idiot! Yeah.
And I think he tried to do that.
I hope so.
But he had like some sort of weird...
Was he wearing gloves?
Yes, he put gloves on before he even opened the door.
Okay, good.
He just tried to notice that she's on the bathroom floor. It looks like she's been beaten, and there's blood all over the cabin. So that's all he gets, and he goes back to try to report that, which is horrible. So I think they tried to figure out, like, could she have just slipped and fell and knocked her, like, fallen and got blood over, or did he really kill her? Because I'm sure they didn't want a murder on it.
Right.
But so ship security goes back, Robert's in this room, and they start asking him questions, and Robert says, I punched her once right in the stomach. Shirley didn't do anything wrong. I don't know why I did it. And they're like, you punched her once in the stomach? I don't know.
Why was there blood everywhere?
Yeah, and Robert, so they think, like, okay, he's not telling the whole story. We need massive, massive help.
Uh-huh.
They call the FBI, and I guess through some law, the FBI now can come into international waters and come on a cruise ship when some dickweed kills their wife. So the FBI come in a helicopter, land on the ship. They come to Robert and try to take over the situation. Mm-hmm. So they go to Robert again, who's still fucked hammered, and he tells the story again. I punched her in the stomach once. And so the FBI come up with the first idea that maybe Robert, punches his wife in the stomach once in the bathroom, and then maybe passes out, and then another attacker randomly, by chance, enters their cabin and starts punching the shit out of Shirley in her stomach. Because that just seems normal. Like, just by chance, Robert punches the shit out of one shot to the stomach, passes out, and then just a random douchebag comes in, punches the shit out of Shirley's gunt, and then takes off. Did another person come in and just punch the shit out of her stomach? And it's like, just punch the shit out of Shirley's gunt day? And just one after the other come in punching the shit out of her stomach? And she's like, ooh, ah, ooh, ee. Of course not! Fuck off with that! Robert didn't just hit her once.
No.
You don't take his story at face value. I mean, you don't take that and then assume someone else randomly picked out of all the cabins, immediately that cabin, to go in after Robert because he punches the shit out of her stomach once, and then go in and just punch this random old lady in the stomach 1,900 times? By chance? What in the hell are you talking about, a random person?
This was ridiculous.
What are the odds? What are the odds? Come on! It's just a sign that says, come punch my goddamn wife in the stomach? And just all sorts of men are lined up out the door? I mean, what the hell?
Take your shot. Take your shot.
Punch a bitch in the stomach day. It's just, come on. Whoever said that
no,
theory
it's
out
really
loud
bad.
had to
Yeah.
be just unshakable.
Yeah.
What in the hell? And so then the FBI notices, his knuckles are all bloody. And they said, we dismissed the theory of more attackers coming randomly into the room.
Thank God, because that
on.
was just insanity.
What? He punches her once, and then somehow, some way, some random dick comes in and just punches the shit out of her stomach.
Again,
and
they
kills her.
showed it, 14
They showed
times.
a random dude coming in even and punching this woman in the stomach.
You hired an actor
come on.
to do that? That was so dumb. It just wasted 15 more minutes
I just
of
thought,
time.
what? How? Oh, only for a man would they just say, well, he said he just punched her once, so obviously.
This drunkie might be telling the truth.
God damn it. Now, while Bab is in the room, as well as all the FBI agents are in this room, Bab calls his son and says, I killed Shirley. It was an accident, but not an accident. Has it been on the TV yet? This dick asks his son, hey, have it been on the TV because I killed my wife?
Yeah.
And it was an accident, but not an accident. And so the agents are there listening, and they're like, what? And he keeps saying he did it, so of course he did it. He's saying he did it. His hands are covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he had like 20 drinks, which means he had probably 40 drinks. The FBI then interviews like 50 other passengers, and they get no leads to explain what in the hell happened or why he did this. Because of course they think Shirley had to have been flirting and porking other men on the cruise to make Robert jealous, because why else would he just punch the shit out of his wife and kill her? Because she had to be acting the flirt. It had to be her fault that caused him to get really mad at her. So they start asking all these passengers, did you see Shirley like take her tits out, shake them in random men's faces, making Bab real mad? Everyone's like, well, no. They saw no sign of anything except those two just hand in hand in love on the whole fucking cruise. In fact, their friends even said they never even said a fucking bad word about the other person the whole time they've been married, even to their friends. And then I thought, oh my God, so Shirley didn't have a podcast where she said her husband had a micro penis to all the people in the world? Shirley didn't have a podcast where she said her husband hurt his shoulder by jerking maniacally, jerked his shoulder out of the joint, and that her husband's a goddamn fucker, that he's a worthless piece of shit? She didn't do it?
She didn't.
Oh.
She I know.
My God, Shirley, you were an angel.
We're fucked.
We are fucked.
So,
I mean,
and this part made me mad too. I'm like, he said he did it. He has blood on his hands. Just, who cares why? He's clearly fucked up.
Exactly.
Why?
He is fucked up, and she did nothing that would have deserved for her. When we see what happened to her, she did absolutely nothing, and nothing.
And he
she
said,
did
I did
would
it.
lead to this. Nothing,
so
nothing,
cares?
nothing. Then, of course, they have to think, well, let's look into his finances. Well, Robert's school was closing. Well, he works at an at-risk school. He's used to it almost closing all the
Every
time. That's
year.
not going to stress out a teacher. A teacher doesn't have any money. A teacher is used to being treated like shit at their school and having no supplies. That's nothing new.
No. Every year we go, I wonder if I'm going to have a job next year.
Right, and like,
Same.
oh, nobody has a pencil, so I have to spend
Samesies,
everything
Bob.
to get pencils so kids can have goddamn pencils.
Yeah.
Shirley, though, had mentioned she wants to move to Oregon to be closer to her children, and Robert said, that's great, I'll finish up here and join you. Like, there was no drama for that. The FBI looks at Robert's past and like, oh, this might be it. Robert was married and had a very, unfortunately, bad divorce.
Yeah.
Where it just wiped him out financially.
Yeah.
Again, he's a teacher. He had nothing.
Nothing. What is it? Yeah.
And so he was very poor when he met Shirley. She was also a teacher probably at that time, so she was very poor. There's nothing new.
Right.
There's nothing. And he didn't need anything. And they realized that Robert just said, if he's trying to get her insurance, he probably would not have just said, I did it, immediately. he probably would have acted sly and said, I didn't do it. My goodness, what happened?
Uh-huh.
Because if you admit to murdering your wife, you're not going to get the insurance money. So I think we can rule that out. Robert, as he gets taken off, you can see the real Bob get taken off the cruise ship by police. The real Bob has very long gray hair that was flowing in the wind, like Rapunzel.
Like Tay in a Wind.
Tay in a Wind. But Robert pretty much stops talking once he gets on land and gets into like the jail. And he never says why.
Sobered up?
I think, he sobered up and he realizes,
and he's like, holy shit, yeah. Shirley
gets an autopsy and we're hoping maybe some questions can be answered why this happened to this poor woman. She died by blunt force trauma to her head and to her body, torso, and strangulation. Now, the coroner said they have never seen this level of violence before. In fact, her internal organs, pretty much every single internal organ, was bleeding. There was so much internal bleeding that, I mean, there was like 200 cc's or whatever that is of blood in her pelvis because all of her organs were fucked. They were all crushed. Like, and they said, these are car accident injuries. That he must have been fucking jumping on her. I don't know how you would. Punching wouldn't even do this. He had to be kicking or jumping on her body up and down. I don't even understand how this would happen. It's so awful. And then she did not die from all this horrific trauma to her head and her torso. She was strangled at the end, and they could tell that how the bruises were on her neck, that she was lifted above the air and held until she died. What a horrifying, horrible way to go by your husband. That so far has been a perfect relationship. And this woman had to be terrified. I just hope she was knocked unconscious and just, I don't know.
But they said she wasn't, right? Didn't they say
that she didn't die?
Oh, she didn't die right from the punch.
But
okay.
I just hope she wasn't. I don't know. I just hope for her that. I don't know. Her underwear was also torn off. Her skirt was ripped and pushed up. Her clothes were ripped. I don't know what he was trying. It was such an awful, violent, horrific attack that coroners just were blown away.
Also, I can't believe that no one heard it because on a cruise ship, there is no privacy.
You would think these rooms are tiny, right next to each other.
Either next door or across the hall would hear something.
Unless
happening.
It was like 6 p.m. They were eating.
Maybe they were
something.
eating.
I don't know. It's so awful. Robert says he has zero memory of this attack. Well, it's possible because he was so fucking hammered, unless he was pretending to be that hammered. But then I don't know why he would just admit to everything and act the fool like he was.
Well, was it taking shots and then throwing it behind his back?
And
no, he ate the scorpion. Yes.
And his excuse is alcohol made me do it. And so he tries to bring into court that the scorpion causes hallucinations, but we have someone on there that says that's an urban legend that has been debunked
and mezcal
many times.
Really doesn't have
the ingredients.
The ingredient mezcal, or
that would cause that. So he's like, that doesn't work. That's not it. It's been disproven. Your intoxication defense is fucked. And a lady on there too says lots of people get shit canned and they don't kill their spouse because they're shit canned. So Robert, at first when he comes into trial, he says not guilty, even though he's said it 400 times.
Because they were going to say not guilty because of not in your right mind.
I guess. And then the preliminary hearing happens, which must be so much evidence against this fucker, he changes it to guilty. And I think that's because he knew he was fucked, and he thought if he says guilty, he'll maybe get off on his sentencing a little lighter. But his excuse was going to trial would be too much of a financial and emotional burden for Shirley's family. What?
All right, whatever, dude.
Because his legal team then tries to push to avoid a harsh sentence so he can get out in his mid-60s. What? You beat this woman so bad it was like she was run over by a car? And you think you're going to get out?
On her retirement
in like 8
celebration.
years?
Fuck
What
you,
a
that's
dick.
the worst, Bob.
I know. And then they try to say he taught underprivileged kids. Well,
so do we all.
yes. He was and he was hammered. Well, I get hammered and I don't beat the shit out of people.
You just go to a
I
bathtub.
go in a bathtub and I just sit there.
Sleep.
The judge pretty much says, piss off, Dick. Eat a butthole. And he says, we're showing no remorse except when you think about your sentence, you wing. And this beating was so goddamn brutal that you are a monster. Like, nothing you did before can ever make up for what you did to this woman. That she trusted you. At sentencing, he finally says, oh gosh, I'm sorry. But they're like, it's too late, Dick.
Right.
And so he just gets life. But I swear to God, life is always like with parole, and they get out 12 years.
I know.
So who knows? But it said he'll be in prison the rest of his life. But he's 50, he was 56 or something. He could do 12 years and be out.
Right.
So I don't know when he's getting out or if he ever is. I hope not. But he should be in there for a while still yet. Dick.
For real. And just wearing his ponytail, his gray ponytail.
And how can you punch that hard though? If he's that drunk that he can't even walk in a straight line and his legs can't support him, how can you be that strong and beat someone up that way? Like, was he pretending? And just thought he would get off because he was drunk? I don't know.
Quite figure it
like,
out.
did he have this planned? I don't know. It's so odd. Oh, just a sad, horrible story.
Sad
She
and horrible.
deserved way better.
And the prospector sucks dick.
Yeah, he does.
Hey, did you start our new book club?
I did.
Yet? What do you think?
I liked it right away.
I liked it right away too.
Chapter, you'll be like, oh, and then you'll have to keep reading.
Yeah, you have to keep going. I was so tired I had to stop, but I wanted to keep reading. So,
it's kind of a thing where it goes back in time a little bit too, so you got to keep track of different names.
And it's like, kind of like, what do you call it? The Da Vinci Code, where it kind of leaves you at a hanging point, and then you go somewhere else, and then you go somewhere. But I really like it. So if you have never listened before, or if you've listened and haven't participated yet, we are reading The Perfect Lie by Joe Spain. And we are going to meet in July sometime,
middle
like
of
the
July.
third week in July, I think.
Something like that.
But if you don't have the book, mine came in 2 days. I got it off of Amazon.
And I think if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's just a free one from there.
From Kindle Unlimited. But please join us. We have so much fun. Last time I just said,
fun.
I'm not even going to read the book.
I didn't read it either because I couldn't get it in time.
But I am reading this one, and I'm really excited about it. So we just get a glass of wine, and we meet on Zoom, and you find that Zoom link in our Facebook group. So you have to kind of join the Facebook group in order to get that link. But we would love to see you. Yeah, we can send you to, but you could just join the group too.
But some people don't have Facebook because they think it blows.
Yeah, it kind of does.
That.
Yeah, I understand too. Okay, so please join us again. The Perfect Lie by Joe Spain.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good week, and we'll be around.
Thank you, Patreon.
Yes.
Thank you, listeners.
Yes.
Share us with your friends.
Please.
Yes.
On your social media, if you can, that would help us a ton.
And go ahead and give us 1,000 stars and a positive review. Yeah. Obviously. Okay, bye.